It was 26 degrees when I left my house this morning. Right now at the radio station, it is 27 degrees. And let's check in with Pat Pagano and see what it is in Weatherville this morning. Good morning, Pat. So let's see what the weather is like in Weatherville. Good morning, Pat.
Oh, we're not in Margaritaville, though.
No, you're in Weatherville. And I had a nice introduction all set up for you, and my Skype failed. It wouldn't get a hold of you, so I had to back out and restart it again because I left my house. It was 26. I got to the station and it was 29, and now it's 27. Most people are reporting in between 27 and 29 degrees here.
Right, and that's pretty much what we expected. Generally mid-20s, and today's going to be a nice mild day. The only problem is, again, the wind will pick up this afternoon, so it'll be sunny to partly cloudy. We'll have some high clouds coming in, and the high about 60, which is a lot better than yesterday. And then tonight, it will be a lot better than this morning because of clouds, mid-40s. We're looking for a little bit of light rain Saturday morning. There'll be some sunshine and maybe a shower during the afternoon. Highs, however, warmer than today, 60 to 65. Then back to cooler. Low 50s, sunny clouds, and brisk for Sunday. Mid-50s, sunny to partly cloudy on Monday. How do you like that?
I hate the word brisk.
Brisk?
I hate the word brisk because brisk means that there's, at this time of year, the sun could be out, but the wind's blowing, it feels cold, and there's leaves blowing all over the place.
That's pretty much what it means. So at least you got that right.
Oh gosh, it's right. So now we're looking at my birthday week coming up next week, Pat. 23rd is my birthday, October 23rd.
Which is Tuesday, and the full moon is on that day? Yeah, the full moon's on the 23rd. Right. How do you like that? The hunter moon falls right on your birthday. What do you think that means?
That means I'll be out hunting for something.
Yeah,
I'll be out hunting for money because we have a fundraiser going on Facebook to celebrate my birthday. I ask people not to send birthday cards, but to make donations on Facebook. All they have to go to is the RobinHoodRadio.com Facebook page. Right at the top of the page, they'll find the link to make a donation in my birthday honor. So we've raised about $2,000 so far already.
That's very nice. How nice is that?
Well, we have a giving area. There was a horrible farm fire here last week, where a whole herd of cattle, 447, were killed. Destroyed this Millerhurst farm, which was owned locally, a historic farm owned locally, and in under a week, Pat. In under a week on Facebook, people have raised over $110,000 for the farm.
Wow.
Well, that's a drop in the bucket with what it's going to cost to rebuild the farm, but $110,000. And I go back to when our AM transmitter died, and we needed a transmitter, and we needed to raise $30,000 quickly, and we did it in 5 days. People around here are so giving. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's really, really nice because, not to get off on a religious note, but last week in the gospel, a man approaches Jesus and he says, listen, I have abided by all of the commandments. Am I guaranteed to get to heaven? And Jesus turned around and said to him, go and sell everything you have and give to the poor. And then, yes, you will. And everyone said, well, what exactly is the meaning of that? And the way it was interpreted is that Jesus says, well, if you have a lot of money, you may get to heaven, but you may not pay any attention to me. So if you don't have a lot of money and you give to the poor, you will pay attention to me, and therefore you are guaranteed in heaven. So therefore, folks, for all your generosity, you are guaranteed a place in heaven.
There you go. There you go.
How do I know? One of the things that I'm doing um, sideline this year is I volunteered to be a catechist in my parish, and on Tuesdays I teach religion to the seventh graders.
A catalyst or a catechist? Wait, what is it again?
Catechist.
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 Is that,
Yes.
does it have anything to do with cats at all?
No.
No.
Got to do with catechism.
Oh, there you go. Catechism classes.
Catechism classes. So that's what I'm doing on Tuesday in the seventh graders. And
now you're doing that so you get a good seat in church, right? Because you're a newcomer to that church.
Oh no, I sit in the first row every single Sunday.
Now, is this church fuller than the last church you were at?
Absolutely. Not only fuller, but how ironic that here I am in a much smaller town. I came from a very populated town on Long Island, and in the bulletin, they would always put what the donations were from the week before.
Yeah.
And back then, which is 2.5 years ago, their quota was $7,000 per week.
Yeah.
That was their quota, and a lot of times they fell below that. In this church, they do not put a quota, and almost every single Sunday, their donations are 10,000 plus, and a much smaller church. So there is your statement about giving. It seems to me that when you get out of the big cities, people in the countryside tend to be a lot more giving.
Now, also, and it seems like before at your church, people only really showed up on holidays. Is that different here?
Much different.
Huh.
Plus, they also have a teaching mass once a month, and that's at 8:30 in the morning, and that's when you bring your children to mass, and they are called up to the altar, and the homily is based around the children and the whole bit, and it's a teaching mass, and it's very, very nice. But I always see families coming into church, and it's 8:30 mass here in our parish. Well, it's actually 8 o'clock. Is crowded, always crowded. So that's a nice thing to know too, because back home it was very empty. I mean, only half the church was full, especially at the mass that I went to. But what I did want to tell you before I forget is that the computer models have diverged about that storm for late next week. But what's interesting is I haven't. I still think, one way or another, I don't know if we're talking the nor'easter here, but one way or another, I think wind and rain is slated for us again next weekend. So by this time next week, we should be talking about it. I'm not going to back off right now. And Marshall will remember this, because if it does come to pass and people say to Marshall, I don't remember anybody talking about this storm, Marshall will turn around. I know Marshall, and he'll say, well, you are listening, because right. Pat spoke about it over a week in advance.
Now, is there any chance of any snow from this?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, definitely don't think so.
Just wind, cold, and rain.
Yeah, which is not, you don't like that. Oh, and the National Weather Service issued the NOAA issued their long-range weather forecast yesterday.
I don't believe it.
I'm just going to tell you, I don't go along with it. They're calling for a milder than normal winter for us here in the Northeast. They said the Mid-Atlantic could get a lot of snow. And they said that the El Nino will remain weak. I don't believe any of that. I think this is going to be a rough winter. So I hope I'm wrong, and I hope they're right. But right now, I don't go along with it.
I saw it, and I said to myself, hogwash.
Hogwash.
That's what it was to me. Because, like I said, well, anyways, I mean, and it's funny, they got us right on the cusp of being a much warmer, it ends right by where, like, New York City is.
Right.
Where all of a sudden you get into a warmer than normal winter. I just don't believe it, and I don't believe the El Nino pattern is the way it was, and so I don't believe it.
Well, that's good. So that means you're more of a believer in my forecast than theirs.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you.
I'm in lockstep with your forecast.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
All right, Pat. Well, have a good weekend. Now you won't be in on Monday, right?
No, and AJ asked if he could work the next 2 Mondays to finish out the month, and I said, why not? But what I will be doing, I'll be in the Weather Center, and I'm going to be working on all of our new forms for 2019.
All right, there. I will speak to you on Tuesday then, Pat.
All right, sounds good, Marshall.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Pat Pagano this morning in the Weather Center with a check on our forecast here on Robin Hood Radio.